How we doing, y'all? I'm Bryan Beck. This is our SOP discussion for Aviation 360. So, standard operating procedures and their importance. First, we'll cover what SOPs are. Um, Pulled this one from the internet. They are a framework of common procedures set out by an airline which supports pilots in operating a commercial aircraft safely and consistently. And there's emphasis on consistently. That's what SOPs are all about, and we're going to break into that a little bit more as we go along. Now, what I found, and I actually heard about this when it happened about 7 years ago, Aspen, Colorado, there was a Challenger 600 that went down on the runway. Effectively, what had happened to the aircraft is it came in from an unstabilized approach. They were above the glide path for the approach and ended up chasing it down to a pretty excessive descent rate. A couple other factors involved. There was a pretty ugly crosswind and a tailwind, so a quartering tailwind for the aircraft that exceeded the limitations set by the manufacturer. And this was their second attempt on the approach. The weather in Aspen at the time was not great. And if you've ever seen, been to, or heard about the approaches into Aspen, they are extraordinarily challenging. The descent angle for the localizer 1.5 into Aspen is tricky. It's very steep. So if you're not stabilized and you have to chase that glide slope down, you're going to be descending extraordinarily quickly. And what ended up resulting from this is the aircraft bounced on the runway about 50, 60 feet into the air, stalled, and came down on its, I believe, left wing, shearing it from the aircraft. Big fireball ensued. The first officer was killed, and a handful of other people were injured pretty severely from the wreck. So how do, excuse me, SOPs apply to all of this stuff? Now, I'm not familiar with a specific company. I know it was a Mexican Part 135 operator flying this crew. And I don't know their specific rules and callouts, but most 135, 121, even 91 operators are going to have a list of standardized callouts. For instance, say 1,000 feet above the ground, the pilot flying or monitoring whoever is going to call out on speed, on localizer, on glide, clear to land, continue, or something along those lines. And if those criteria aren't met that he just listed, they're going to call go around. And then the pilots will go missed. And if you read the accident case study, you'll find out that they did, in fact, go missed the first time around because they were, the first time as well, above the glide path. Now, the second time through, they were chasing the glide down again, but decided to continue the approach to a landing. Now, your SOPs are probably going to mandate that no matter where you are on the approach, if you're unstabilized after the final approach fix, you need to go around. There's no room for interpretation in this. Further, I would expect that the company has some form of SOPs that regard what kind of crosswind or tailwind component the crew is allowed to land from. Now, I can't imagine in any world where the company SOPs would go above and beyond what the aircraft manufacturer says is a safe tailwind to land with. But we'll go ahead and assume that they're ignoring their SOPs and flying in weather that they know they should not be. So why is this so important? Well, we really just broke it down, but what standard operating procedures, what they do is they provide limitations that are not open to interpretation. You're not allowed to change what you think SOPs mean. They're black and white conclusions that should tell you immediately what is and is not safe to do in the airplane. And so, why are they so important? Well, SOPs should be treated like a black and white legal text, a go or no go list, a continue the approach or go around list. Pilots and crew have to realize that SOPs are created through very careful consideration by the airline or charter group or whoever's creating them. And they're designed by professional experts who know what is and what is not safe to do in the airplane. Had the crew of this Challenger followed their SOPs, they probably would have gone missed. They probably would have flown to their alternate, maybe Denver, something like that, got a hotel for the night, waited for the weather to clear, and gone skiing in the morning. And everybody would be alive and unharmed. And the airplane would probably still be flying today. That's about all I got. Thank you, guys.